Good afternoon, everyone. It's my first time in Chile, and I'm extremely happy to be here. I'm already in love with Chilean people. They're so warm and brilliant and ingenious, and I've been here for 4 days, and I've been amazed since. I also brought my rock singer's voice with me, so please forgive me. I'm here, I have 15 minutes to talk about a very large, broad topic, so I'm gonna try to dive right into the point and be as clear as possible. Thank you. I was asked to talk about how to bring the invisible visible, or how to make things visible. And I work a lot with civil society organizations and their access to artificial intelligence, to which I will be referring to from now on as AI. And that's the title of my topic, the power of the unseen, because civil society organizations don't have much access to AI right now, not in the development, in the making of it, or in the governance of it. Let's start by defining what artificial intelligence is. The term was coined in 1955 by John McCarthy. The idea was that if you could understand intelligence really well, you could recreate some parts of artificial intelligence, such as vision, language. And to do that, we needed mathematics, computer science, linguistics, psychology. We sometimes forget how multidisciplinary AI actually is. And it's also become very well understood in the last big breakthroughs of AI that are brought upon by much more computational power than we had in the 1950s, and as well as access to larger sets of data. So I put on the slides two definitions and two important concepts about the multidisciplinarity of AI. Has anyone ever heard of the Asimolar Principles? Asimolar Principles were signed in 2017 by over 1,500 scientists around the world, and added to that various leaders. This principle is that any investments into artificial intelligence need to come with investments in social sciences as well. So not only is it multidisciplinary, it's also extremely important to put money in funding and research into those other aspects to be able to better understand its social impact and ethical implications, political implications, economic implications. So now that we've defined a little bit about what artificial is in a very general terms, it's also right now become a historical economic opportunity. It is forecasted that it will boost the global GDP by $15.7 trillion by 2030. It already has boosted it in 2018 by some massive numbers. The major areas of growth will be in the financial sector and in the health sector. So keep that in mind as we move forward in this presentation. That's the major possibilities it presents. It also, according to growing body of research, has the potential to increase social inequalities. And I think a lot of people are very concerned about that and have reason to be concerned about it. And if we don't do anything concrete, it will increase the division between the rich and the poor. So I want to focus on what kind of choices we need to make moving forward to make sure that it doesn't increase social inequalities. I want to talk about AI's social potential and give you an example of how we can go one way or the other. Let's talk about two examples, given the time that we have today, education and health. I'll choose one example. In health, it's easy to imagine, for example, that there's a startup in Africa, for example. They analyze babies' voices, and by analyzing 10,000 voices of babies, for example, they're able to forecast and predict sudden infant death syndrome. So they're literally saving babies' lives. It's a startup. It comes out of university research. But what business model do they give to their startup will be extremely important. Who do they collaborate with? Where is the baby's data? Baby's voices become data. Where will that go? And who will it be accessible to? In education, for example, we can create personalized educational tools. Will that be used to replace the teachers or assist teachers? Those are all the kind of very concrete decisions we need to make. Who makes AI matters. And in these two slides, for example, this on the right side, Canadian AI ecosystem is very visible and easy to see. The other one is Global South ecosystem portrait. Says about the same thing as the Canadian AI ecosystem. The 95% of the use of AI right now is in the private sector. Only 5% is in the public and nonprofit sector. So I want to dive a little bit deeper in who is working in the nonprofit sector. 7 out of 10 women work in the social sector. These are Canadian statistics. I don't know if it's representative in Chile, but women in Canada, on average, work in the social sector. So nonprofit sector, civil society organizations, social purpose organizations, we find a lot more women. And as we saw, they're not the ones using AI. In AI itself, there is a diversity crisis. There's only 15% of women on average. I'm averaging all the statistics for efficiency purpose today. 15% women published in AI. 15% of AI staff at Facebook are women, and 10% at Google. There were 6 black, when you can count them on barely 2 hands, you know there's not enough black people in AI. 6 black people of 8,500 attendees at a major AI conference. That's the NeurIPS conference, the biggest AI conference in the world. So who are the unseen advocates? Civil society organizations are nonprofit organizations that work to achieve sustainable development goals, strive to achieve human rights, sustainable development. And social innovation research shows that involving civil society organizations in the development of new technology, new science, in this case AI, facilitates the trust, the understanding of the new tool. Also, it accelerates the safe adoption of new technology and inclusive innovation. It also ensures better quality. Milind Tambay, the quote here is from Milind Tambay. He's an award-winning AI researcher. And he says, we always work with civil society organizations. It gives us better data, and when we have better data, you have better algorithms. So we get better quality. Now, who governs artificial intelligence also matters on our capacity to develop ethical and responsible AI. There is a recent research, the name is quoted at the bottom, that was published in November 2018. So this is very recent information. They found 84 documents globally that were attempting to document principles or guidelines around ethical AI. Of those 84 documents, 22% were produced by the private sector themselves. So the tech industry writing ethical guidelines for their own industry. There's good and bad. Obviously, we want self-reflection there, and it's a positive effort. But when you look also at the last number, 32% of those ethical guidelines were made by public-private partnerships. So now if we add those two numbers, we have over 50% of the ethical guidelines around AI being produced by the private sector. The civil sector is barely represented. We have a couple of statistics, like 1% produced by a union and 1% produced. Sometimes you have some rare academic civil partnerships that are very interesting as well. 40% globally of the ethical frameworks that were produced were done by the USA and the UK. None were found from African countries or for South American countries. I'm really sorry if there is one here in Chile that she missed and therefore that I'm missing. Please let me know if I did. I would love to hear about it. And I think there's amazing work ongoing. And if it's not existing yet, we will see it very soon. we need to see it. So ethical AI, you'll see that word going around, what's ethical, what's responsible AI. I think it's extremely important that ethical AI will evolve as people understand the different implications. It is not something that you can set in stone. It's not something you write, this is ethical and this is not. This is transparent AI, this is not. Because as long as people do not understand the implications, they cannot make proper choices and be part of that dialogue. So this is my definition of ethical AI, where it's achieved with an informed, ongoing social dialogue about its implications. And I would add inclusive dialogue, with actions against its risks and a commitment to realize its benefits. Responsible AI means socializing its benefit and democratizing its access. And I almost have enough time to add that in the informed social dialogue, the stage here is absolutely beautiful today. Congratulations to the organization team. Art is I don't know if there's artists in the room, but art is an amazing tool to facilitate a dialogue with citizens on what is AI, understanding what it is and its different implications. So I finished with actually 3 minutes in advance. This is amazing. I was trying to hurry up. So who makes AI and who governs AI matters. Be seen, be part of the change was the core of my message today. Thank you very much.